welcome to Clarity Design. We're looking at Adobe After Effects CS 5.5, and in particular we are looking in layers and how to set keyframes, so some fairly basic stuff. We'll just have a look at the different layers we can make. So I've set up a basic composition in HD size, 24 frames per second. You can see the settings there, and I'm going to start making some keyframes. Now you can double click in this area here to bring in different images that you might have got from elsewhere on your computer, maybe from Photoshop or Illustrator, and you might be bringing those in to animate them, maybe some film footage from somewhere else, maybe Premiere Pro. But in this case I'm just going to make a couple of things, and so that we can get going and have a look at them. So I'm going to make a couple of new layers. I can do that in the top menu here, obviously layer new, but I can also do it down here by right clicking and going to new and make a layer. So in this case I'll make a text layer. Immediately I'll type in what I want into that layer, and then to finish that off just select a different tool and that will finish that off for me. So there's the word go, obviously layer 1. I'm going to copy that, so select the layer with the left click, press Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and I've got two go layers, one under another. So go, lovely. So two go layers, one under the other. That's a couple of text layers ready to go. Let's have a look at some of these options. So obviously here we've got the visibility, switch it on and off. This button lets it go solo, so anything that's not selected will be visible. Okay, so go to there becomes the only visible one, is what I'm trying to say. Then we can lock this, so we can lock the layer, meaning that it can't be accidentally moved or edited. Not that. And then this little arrow here expands the properties of that particular layer, so we'll have a look at that again in a minute. Then you've got the name of the file, which can be changed. The easiest way to do that, I find, is on the right click to rename, and then you've got this, which makes the layer shy. That means that if the layer's shy, then when you click on this icon here, it will hide all of the shy layers, but none of the others. So it's a quick way to reduce the number of layer count if you've got a lot of layers that you're trying to deal with. Then we've got a motion blur, so whether motion blur affects it or not, whether the effects, any adjustments made to this layer affect the layers below or not, and then making the layer 3D, which is useful later on when we start adding cameras and lights, but probably not at the moment. This is called a pick whip, and it allows us to parent up or connect different layers together, so that you can see here this parent-child relationship. So if I pick this one up now, it's all by itself. If I pick this one up, it moves both layers. So parent-child relationship between the two. Sorry for that. There we go. Let's get rid of that. So I'll just go back to none there. Okay, so let's have a look at another layer. So right-click, new. In this case, I'll make a solid color layer. Let's make that something quite nice and bright, so like a red. And you can see that's covered up the first two layers. What do I do now? Well, I need to drag that down to below the other two layers so I can see those again. So reordering these is important, so that you get things in the right order on your screen. So there we go, go, red, white, excellent. Let's start mucking about with this. What else do I need to show you in terms of layers? Right click down here. If I make a light layer, often people think, oh, lights, I put a light in, and they make it, they click OK, and they're like, well, hang on, hasn't made any difference at all. I can move that layer about, can interactively change it, but it's not changing the layers. Oh, Control Z. That's why locking layers up is useful. So with this light layer, actually light layers are three-dimensional layers. You can see that this block is blocked out. It has to be a 3D layer, and none of my other layers are 3D at the moment. So I can just switch them to 3D by clicking that block there, and then you can see that that light is starting to have an effect on my scene. And if you wanted to start interacting with that in the 3D view, then actually you can stick up 4 views. You can start positioning your light, and obviously changing the position. I'm having trouble just picking that up. Changing the position, shape of that light gives you slightly different effects depending on what settings you've got set up. And under the properties you can change all the options as to what kind of light it is and everything. So I'll let you go and explore that for yourselves. I'm going to leave that alone for now. I'm not going to animate the light. It's too complex for the first lesson. But that means you just so now you just have a good idea about what that's about. Another 3D layer that you can make is a camera. So just be aware that that's there, and it's a 3D camera, which means you're going to need to use 4 views, and you might need to have some other 3D layers made I'm going to go back to one view, which will set me back to this basic view. Let's just animate something so that you've got an idea of keyframes. So I'll just go to Go, let's go to Go, and I'll lock the layers up so I can't choose those by mistake. I'll expand that, and down here I'm going to use Transform. Now the way After Effects work is it uses these stopwatches to indicate whether you're going to use that channel or not, you want it to record that channel or not, in the changes that you make. So I'm just going to use opacity here. So I'm going to switch that on. As soon as I switch that on, a keyframe appears. That's the little diamond shape there. That appears in the channel. And if I move it along and I don't make any change, then no new diamonds will appear unless I click here. That will make a new keyframe. Okay. Over here, in the middle of these two, so I've got two set to fully on, I'm going to switch it off in the middle. So I'm going to left click again, drag that down so it's invisible, or nearly invisible. There we go, invisible, so it's on 0. And you see a new keyframe has been placed there. So now between the two, now you'll see that these green dots start to appear. That's as the computer loads these images into the RAM memory. So if I click play there, it's just going to load some of that stuff up into the memory, and it'll start fading out. You see my computer's not very fast, it's even struggling with this. So there we go, it's fading out, fading in. Once it's played through it and it's loaded these images into the RAM memory, it should be able to play them back at full speed. So we'll just fade it out to there, cool, and we'll go back so that you can see that fading down, what that looks like. No, it's really struggling with that, so I'm going to leave that for now. You can see that fading out there. Okay, so that's keyframes. Obviously you can move these keyframes backwards and forwards, you can reposition them, so if you've got timing that's slightly off, you can move that around. You can also highlight more than one and move them, and by pressing backspace you can get rid of them as well. So if your timing's out or it's taking way too long to do something that you thought you got your timing a little bit wrong, you can actually change that very easily. Another thing to be aware of is that you can right click and use a keyframe assistant to change the shape of the animation curve. To see that curve, you just use this icon here, and then you can again just keyframe. Easy ease. Oh, missed it. Easy ease. There we go. So you can change the shape of that curve so that the animation works in a slightly different way, and interact with that. Switch it back to there, and you're back off again. So there we go, playing around with that animation, having a go at making keyframes, and that would work with any of these with stopwatches. So we could do the position as well. Let's just do that so you've got another idea. So just run over that one more time. So I'm going to unlock the layer, I'm going to go down to transform, I'm going to go to position this time. It's added a keyframe. Look, it's added it right in the middle there. I was in the wrong place. I'm going to drag that back. I'm going to drag that keyframe back to here as well. If I want to zoom in so I can see that in more detail, I can. And then I'm going to move that along slightly, and I'm actually going to interactively reposition it over here. Okay, so during that time it's going to move out of the scene. Okay, hopefully that's all you need to get going. So enjoy having a play around, maybe see if you can make your own name fly on and off the screen. I wouldn't bother with a light layer at the moment, just doing that to show it to you, but yeah, have a go, play around and see if you like it or not. Thank you very much.